those rezonings to B3 in the general vicinity. On February 8th, the Planning Commission voted unanimously to recommend approval of the rezoning request, and the findings are as follows. First of all, there was no error or oversight in the original M2 zoning of the site. Since 1960, the immediate neighborhood has transitioned to commercial through rezoning. Third, potential uses of the requested B3 zoning district would not impose undue or excessive hardship on neighboring properties. Fourth, approval of the request fits the transition of the surrounding properties to commercial and also aligns with the comprehensive plan's future land use designation of the area as general commercial. And finally, spot zoning is not evident. In consideration of the request tonight, there are a number of options in front of council. You could first approve the request as submitted. Under this option, a motion to adopt the findings of the commission and introduce the attached ordinance for approval would be in order. You could also deny the rezoning request, modify the request, or table the item. Thank you.
Is there anybody else that wishes to speak to this issue? Anybody else here wish to speak? Last chance. Declare the public hearing closed. Is there a motion?
I move to introduce the ordinance and to accept the planning commission report and minutes.
I'd second that.
As attached.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by Pam. Discussion? George?
Carlos, now as far as the Shive Road, what purpose would that be used for this development once it occurs?
So the primary access would be off of Frontenac Drive. Shives Road would only potentially be used for emergency access if needed. And we'd review that at the site planning stage, but the primary access to this property would be off of Frontenac Drive.
There'd be no general in or out coming off of Shives Road.
Correct.
Would we look in the future of, with this development happening, of somehow maybe putting any barricades along the Shive Road area or not? I mean, just something to throw out to maybe be considered.
Yeah, I think that will all be considered during the site planning process. And when I say emergency access, currently Sugarloaf living. Right now, if needed, the fire department could go across Mankato to access that building. So the same type of improvements to the property off of Shives Road could be considered for this one as well, just to provide better access to the property if needed.
Okay.
Pam?
Yes. I'm interested in learning how we prevent runoff into the creek. And I understand this odd-shaped diagram on the site plan is a water retention plant, a water retention pond. Is that true?
Yeah, well, essentially for this area, any redevelopment that occurs with the three parcels, all of the stormwater will have to be contained on site. And so they'll have some kind of stormwater facilities on site to take care of that in accordance with our city code.
Okay, so this will be big enough to handle the hotel, the parking lots, and whatever else is going on there.
As required by our city code, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Other comments or questions? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 2.2 is the zoning of 1720 Valley View Drive.
Move to approve that request.
What?
Oh,
We got a
sorry.
public hearing here. Call the public hearing open. And something, Carlos, do you have any comments?
For this item, council, just a couple of brief comments. This item would apply a zoning classification to 1720 Valley View Drive. This property is currently unzoned. Any properties that are annexed into the city under the 2005 orderly annexation agreement have come in unzoned, so they require zoning in order to have any kind of changes made to the property. So it's kind of a procedural thing that we need to do here, but it is very important nonetheless. The proposed classification is in line with what the comp plan recommends for the area. Also, what adjacent properties that have also been annexed, what they are zoned, they're also zoned R1. So the Planning Commission recommended approval of this zoning classification with those things in mind, and so approval is again recommended to council.
Okay. Anybody else wish to speak to this issue? Anybody else here to speak to this issue? Last chance. Anybody else want to speak? No? Declare the public hearing closed. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Michelle and seconded by Paul. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Item 2.3 is the zoning for 22-743 County Road 17.
Another public hearing, declare the public hearing open. Any comments from staff? No? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Oh, we're closed.
Oh, yeah, okay. Anybody wish to speak to this issue? Again, anybody here to speak to this issue? Last chance. Public hearing's closed. Now we can have a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by Pam. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Under the petitions, requests, and communications, item 3.1, reappointments to the Port Authority of Michael Chikanowski and Dana Johnson.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Jerry, seconded by Michelle. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.2, appointments to the Board of Adjustment of Travis Biggie, Jeremy O'Laughlin, and Paul Scholmeyer.
Move to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion by George, seconded by Pam. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.3 is a license agreement for the Midwest Music Fest to be held 28th, 29th, and 30th of April. Specific requests include closing 3rd Street between Franklin and Kansas for Friday night and until noon on Sunday, and use of the municipal parking lot at 4th and Franklin, at which they would have a tent. And they are also applying for a liquor license for the tent area and at the Masonic Temple. And Parker and Jacob are here if you have questions.
Michelle?
Hi. My question is about the street closure. Do you have activities going on in the street that is gonna ask you to have it closed that entire 2.5 or 3 days to traffic? Or are you closing it during the times when you actually are trying to make it safer for people to cross?
Correct. We did this last year too, mainly because there's so much traffic there late at night between those two places that, that's mainly why we wanted it closed.
I
But you
guess-
opened it after,
We did
during the
open
day
it
on Saturday,
at night and
didn't
then
you?
put it back up, in the, late afternoon kind of thing.
It doesn't say specifically, but I would request that that's how we handle that again. I think it makes a lot of sense that when you have activities going on, that you close the street. But I'm concerned that for those 3 days, to have the traffic closed on such a major intersection when there's not activity on the street will be confusing, and I think some of the, like Gold's Pharmacy and some of the businesses on either side would probably prefer to have that street open. So I'm fine with the street closure, but I'm gonna modify that. I'm not sure what it states for sure in your, if you were asking for it to be closed the entire time, but I'm gonna ask that we have that just closed when you actually have a function going on.
And we, just to clarify, we weren't closing it all the way to Kansas. We were closing it to the other side of Broken World Records so that most of those businesses, people would have access to them.
I think we'd still, if there's nothing going on during the day on Saturday, I would think we'd want to have traffic flowing through.
Well, there will be something starting at noon on Saturday.
So then when you need to close the street, I guess I'm fine with that, but when you're.
When there's not activity.
Right, overnight or early in the morning, if it could be open, that would be my preference. I think it's perfectly reasonable if you have stuff going on in the street or you have traffic flow from place to place that you want for safety purposes, that's fine, but Sunday morning and Saturday morning, I think having it open would be of benefit to that area.
Okay.
Okay, Al?
Is the tent that you're proposing in the municipal parking lot at Franklin and Fourth, is that something new this year?
We did it 2 years ago. We had it down at the levee 2 years
Okay.
ago. And we had a lot of feedback last year, and the festival keeps growing. We're double our ticket sales at this point than we've been in the past, and we really only have the Masonic in terms of the larger venue in town. And that's why we've brought the tent tried to bring the tent back because it really limits the amount of people that can come to the festival if we don't have another larger venue.
Right. The concern I have is the size of the tent and the area it covers in the parking lot. Franklin Street is a truck route, very busy, and Fourth Street is where people have to stop. My concern is that a tent at that lot might block drivers' views of traffic on Franklin Street as they try to cross from Fourth Street, traffic on Fourth Street, as they try to cross heading east on Fourth, crossing Franklin. And I don't know if you've worked with the police department, I would suggest that you modify your location so that these kinds of traffic sight lines are avoided.
One of the things that I think will help with that is the only place where the tent will work is between the 2 light poles in the middle of the parking lot.
Okay,
So there's going to be quite a big space
Okay.
where people coming up to that corner, I don't think their sight lines would be
okay,
inhibited at all.
okay. It wasn't clear on any of the, the material here where it was going to be placed, and that was my concern. Good. Sounds like a good addition that will make people want to come back again.
We don't have a motion.
I'll
yet,
make
so-
a motion to accept the license agreement and the event with the one modification for traffic on Saturday and Sunday morning.
Second. There's a motion by Michelle and seconded by Jerry. I want to say, a good job to everybody with the music festival and how this thing is growing and the publicity you're generating and your connection with MPR this year, I think is huge for the festival and Winona.
Thank you.
George?
How would we go about as far as governing your sales of liquor, which I presume is approved here as well too? I mean, would you be carting at the tent, or would there be restrooms available there, portable restrooms?
Yes, well, the Eagles Club is right there, and then we will have some porta potties in the parking lot as well. We're hiring a bar manager to oversee both of those bars, and all the volunteers that we're gonna work with are people that have bartending experience. So we will be carding people as they come into the tent, or carding people that are trying to do anything at the Masonic in terms of buying a beer.
Okay. Good.
And we have all the required liability insurance and all that stuff for the liquor. Okay. Other comments? Pam?
So does your attendance increase the next year after you have a really rainy weekend the previous year? It seems like it's been.
Gosh, I hope we don't have that. We've had a rainy day in the past, but we really, hope we don't. Hope we have this weather. That would be
Really?
ideal. Yeah.
Good.
Michelle?
It's a great event. I enjoy it every year,
Oh, thank you.
so thank you.
Anything else? Looks like we're ready to vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Thank you.
Item 3.4 is a license agreement for the Winona Artisan Market. The market will be held the first Saturday of each month, May through October.
Move to approve their license agreement.
Second.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by George. Discussion? Al?
Is there anyone here from the artisan market? I have a quick question, one of clarification.
State your name and address for the record.
Jovi Rocky, 270 East Wabasha.
I think it's a great event. It's a good addition to getting people downtown and complimenting the farmers market and all that. I noticed you're adding something new this year,
Yes.
the ability to sell, or people to craft packaged food products. And I guess if you could give everyone here an example of what you
Kind of
mean by.
elaborate on that.
Yeah,
In the past, I'd had some requests or some interest from some regional people who, like one was pies, another was, it was like a jerky meat kind of a scenario. And I had told them no at the time because it wasn't something that was within the parameters of the market at the time. But I would like to open that area as far as, if someone, say, made spices or, like seasoned salts or anything of that nature.
okay.
I'm not looking for necessarily concession foods or anything like that. It would have to be something shelf-stable, packaged, wouldn't need refrigeration, try to keep it as simple as possible.
I think you said it has to be prepared in a commercial grade kitchen,
Exactly, and I
So-
would require all the necessary
Right.
paperwork for that,
but you would filter that and examine each application in
absolutely.
those parameters, okay.
I'm sure you have to work with the county on that.
Yes, and then I will be delving more into that. It's just something I wanted to propose to the council, and see if that would be a possibility.
Good, thank you.
We have a motion. Any further discussion?
So moved.
Second,
Oh, we had
I think we already had one, right? Yeah. I wasn't calling for one, I said we
Apparently,
had a
we're all
motion.
very excited about your market.
Well, let's pass it twice.
Well, let's only vote once.
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.5 is the request for the Color Dash 5K to be held on April 15th, and I believe members of the Sigma Tau Gamma fraternity are here.
I'd make a motion to approve the license agreement.
Second.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by George. If you'd like to say a few words, introduce yourself, your name and
Yeah,
address.
so I was here last year. My name is Nick Coda for you guys. I'm part of the Sigma Tau Gamma fraternity over at Winona State, co-chair of the event itself. We had it over there last year as a great hit. We had 325 participants. This year we're hoping to get that plus some. So if there's any questions, let me know.
The money that's raised for this, what does it go for?
So the money that is raised goes directly to Winona Volunteer Services. Last year we raised in total $4,200 for them. This year we're hoping to exceed that.
Excellent.
Good for you. George?
What does it cost to enter the race?
Yep, so individual is $29, and then it's prorated from 2 to 10. Just, we're trying to get numbers, and if a team wants to sign up in partners of 3 of 4 all the way up to 10, we prorate that, so a team of 10 is actually $200, so roughly $20 a ticket.
Any other
I'll
questions
pay
or
for your
comments?
ticket, George, if you'll do the run.
And
I would
just-
love to see you color dash, is what I was
Just for
thinking.
clarification, it is a walk or a run.
Oh, he's clarifying that for your run.
No,
Hey,
we all-
listen,
we
George
all-
has been hitting the gym every morning at 6 o'clock, so
I've seen him do the warrior waddle, so it's not.
Oh, so it is possible.
It's
No, she
possible.
said that publicly, so when it gets going, when is this date again?
April 15th, George.
Oh, that's coming up.
Yeah, I know, it's everyone's favorite day too, taxes
All
and
right,
whatnot.
so.
Al?
Just as an aside, that's also the day that the Historical Society is sponsoring a stained glass tour in downtown Winona, so, you know,
It's actually on
people
the
can be
16th.
involved in the color dash?
That's the day before. This,
day
ours is
before?
on the 16th.
You can
The
do
16th?
both.
colorful weekend.
Oh, okay.
Ours on,
I think it's 16th.
I thought it was the 15th. Anyway,
This is a Friday.
it's a good
This is a
weekend to
Friday,
do
yeah,
color.
ours is on
Okay.
Saturday,
It's a good
the
weekend to do
16th.
color in Winona.
Yeah.
yeah, we can do.
What did I-
All right, well, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Get your color dash. Have fun.
Item 3.6 is the Frozen River Film Festival lease agreement for the use of the Masonic Temple office.
Move to approve the lease agreement.
I second that.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by Pam. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.7 is the Peerless Chain Street closure request for Saturday, May 20th, 2017, for their 100th anniversary.
I would move to approve the request.
I'll second.
Motion by George, seconded by Michelle.
Oh, I would note also that Ms. Harrell did have a conversation with a rep from RTP, and they don't know what their schedule will be that far out, but they will work with them.
Okay. Good. Any other comments? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.8 is the annexation request for the Nets at 1451 Sunny Ridge Drive.
I'd move to approve that annexation request.
Second.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by Paul. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Under new business, item 5.1 is the Masonic Temple Roof Project bid authorization. Bids would be received on March 30th.
Move to approve the attached resolution.
Second.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by George. Discussion. Chad, you have anything? Or Al?
Well, I was concerned earlier about, looking over the plans and making sure that those plans would include a drainage system for the roof. I didn't really see any kind of drain points on that roof other than having it, pretty much flat roof and then sloping toward the edges of the roof. And I think Chad has the answer.
Mayor and council, the Masonic Temple has an internal roof drain system. So there are 2 scuppers on the first level of the 3-tiered roof.
Okay.
And so those internal drains are fully functional. They've been reviewed during this process. And so the system will operate the same as it has for the past, since, I guess, 1910. But again, internal roof drains with scuppers on that first tier.
Where do the drains go? Do they connect to the storm sewer system?
So they go into a catch basin, and then if need be, then go out to the storm sewer system. Correct.
Okay.
And so water, basically, like you said, the roof, they pitch the roof to go to those scuppers, and then so that the drainage goes away from any of the interior walls and keeps it yet within that system.
No, you don't want a flat roof with water sitting on it.
Do not.
Okay, thanks, Chad.
Any other comments or questions? George?
It's good to see that project getting off the ground now, so.
Finally.
Yeah.
Finally. All right, I guess we're ready to vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
And again, item 5.2 has been pulled from the agenda. Item 5.3 is the Law Enforcement Labor Service, Inc., Local 75, 2016 wages and benefits for the Winona Police Department officers.
Move to accept.
Second.
Motion by Paul, seconded by Michelle. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 5.4 is the proposal for conceptual plans to relocate the Mankato Avenue Railroad switching.
I make a motion to approve the attached resolution.
Second that.
Motion by Michelle and seconded by Paul. Discussion? Al?
Yeah, in looking over this proposal, I think it's good to explore our options to look at things other than, grade separation. One thing I do wish, though, that the consultant would include, if they can, is an estimate of how long it would take, if indeed this is something that we want to go forward with, how long it would take for that rail yard change to occur. In other words, how many weeks, how many months would people be inconvenienced, or would we have to, would it be a year, would it be, 18 months or what?
Keep in mind, we're working with the railroad here, so.
Well, that was the reason,
is
I think,
railroad
for the
time, I
question,
think.
yeah. That, there's a lot of issues to go through first, and so
Right.
how long will we have to wait before we get a solution, I guess, is what basically I'm thinking about.
Mayor and council, that's a valid question. Obviously, we can't answer any of that until we find out if there's some land available, what are the issues with that land, are there environmental concerns, is the property owner willing to sell, is the railroad willing to deal with us? We really have no clue at this point until we do this study, if it's even in the realm of possibility. And we really can't address how long it would take at this point at all.
I have a question, Keith. Now, there's 2 different tasks here, and we're paying for both tasks. What if, at the end of task 1, there's an agreement cannot be reached? So there's no point in going forward then. Do we have to pay for the whole study? I mean, it wasn't clear to me in this proposal.
This is an hourly study. They'll charge us by the hours they actually spend. So if the railroad up front says, no, we're not interested in doing this, then we're done. There won't be any design work done concerns.
So this is a not to exceed number then?
That's right.
Okay, all right.
Jerry had a question there.
George, I guess.
Oh,
Jerry was first there.
Okay, I'll go. Mine's real quick. Mr. Mayor, I agree with you 100%. However, can't we get that answer for no money before we even go into this? Do we have to hire somebody by the hour to ask the same question that we could?
We already have a preliminary discussion with them, and they are open to it. We just don't have it, we haven't gone beyond just the discussion point.
Okay,
This is
okay.
beginning something on paper, not binding, but something that's on paper that, yes, we agree.
Gotcha. That makes more sense. All right, thank you.
And George?
When would this begin?
I would tell them tomorrow to proceed, and then they
Okay.
would start their discussions with the CP Rio.
And any idea as to how long?
No, I don't know that.
Yes. Okay, good.
Anybody else? Any questions, comments?
I think it's money well spent.
Well, it'll be interesting to find out. All right, we'll vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 7.1 is council concerns.
We'll start with Pam. I don't know if we've ever started with Pam, so. Get you off guard here.
I do have a concern, and I have already talked to Lucy about this concern, so in a way, I just want to voice that I am concerned about the length of time that the building down on Third and, I forgot the cross street, the old Cheaters Bar has been standing neglected, empty with an open, just kind of open to the elements. It's been a long time, and I hope there's action there pretty fast. I know they've got the walls bolstered now. I had a couple of conversations with the people that own Chachi's next door, and there are some really strong structural reasons to get that taken care of. One being that they share a common basement, so all of the moisture from the open ceiling is going right into the basement. So whatever encouragement can be given to the owner of this property, or whatever processes, we should get on that.
I did get an update last week on that property, and I'll just add that the owner is applying for tax credits. Phase 1 has been approved. Phase 2 is being split in two parts, with part 1 structurally making the building sound and putting a roof on. That's all part of phase 2, phase 2.1, I guess. And that's been approved, or they're waiting approval on that, I think, now. But Lucy, why don't you give a little more detail? There's a lot of interest in this building. I know a lot of us are getting
Yes.
questions about it.
So the tax credit process, he is on the phase 2, he split it into two parts. The first part was submitted to the State Historic Preservation Office 2 weeks ago, and they have a 30-day review period. Following that period, if it's acceptable to SHPO, then they approve it, and the building owner could pursue that part of the project, which is the footings, the roof, the truss system, and that would seal the building up. The second phase would be all the rest of the building, interior, finishing, and so forth. So he has completed the submittal of the first part of that. And our building official did go to Chachi's today to talk to them. I didn't have an opportunity to speak with the building official, but he did go visit with the owner today.
Okay, good. So after 30 days for SHPO to respond, but then what might we see in the future in terms of action to get going on that?
There is another step in the process, I believe, Carlos, is there a conditional use permit that's required? So there's a conditional use permit. They have their variance. So after the conditional use permit were to be granted, they could submit their building plans for review and proceed with the project.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
No, thank you.
George?
Thank you. Reading the planning commission minutes on our issue that we had this evening with the hotel down there on Shives Road, they also heard the issue of a tower that may be built or will be built down on Louisa Street, close to Round Ender, I believe on the Badger Foundry property. I know Commissioner Mandy Olson and Laverne Olson both questioned, when that tower is built, and let's say if a overpass should find its way down that way, is that tower gonna be in any way of the construction of an overpass?
George, as you mentioned, there was some discussion about the location of the proposed cell tower and the potential overpass at the Planning Commission meeting. The cell tower is 50 foot away from the right-of-way line, so it's 50 foot on Badger's property. It all depends on how the potential overpass would be constructed. If there's a retaining wall leading up to where the overpass will be, it's likely that the cell tower will not be impacted. Just taking a look at how Pelzer was constructed, if it's constructed in a similar fashion, that 50-foot setback should be sufficient. The applicant for the conditional use permit is aware of the plans that have been discussed, and so he decided to proceed with the application in full knowledge of that.
And when would construction begin on that?
I believe it's within the next few months here. They intended to do it this year.
Okay, thank you. Steve, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Look forward to working with you. I always refer to myself, I'm the council rep that's out on the street. I'm, amongst the workforce out there. I'm in the pubs, I'm in the restaurants, I'm in the fitness centers, I'm at sporting events, and I bring the voice from the public to your office and to this table. So, I don't know how often I'll see you, but usually it's maybe, hey, I heard this or that. I think we all know from being out, or, regardless of where we go, people always come up and they always have a question about something, or could you tell your manager this or tell your mayor that, whatever it may be. So, welcome aboard. I'm confident you'll do a good job, and good luck to all of us.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Okay, Paul?
About 10 days ago, there was a newspaper article regarding downtown parking, and in my opinion, may have left the public with the impression that a parking ramp in the Levy Park area did not have any positive attributes. A rough design that was forwarded to the Levy Park Task Force did the following. It tripled the number of parking slots in the same footprint as existing parking. It added safe and handicap accessibility over the railroad tracks. It added over 40,000 square feet of green space to Levy Park following the turn-of-the-century design. It did not require the removal of any historic or other downtown buildings. It provided indoor and all-weather handicap accessible public restrooms. It made provisions for enclosing concession areas for levy events, and it utilized solar and other earth-friendly environmental features for sustainability. So I just wanted to say that there's not a lot, there is some positive ideas of having a ramp downtown.
Okay, thank you. Michelle?
Welcome, Steve. I'm not a streetwalker like George, but I'm also on the street
Wow.
in a more positive way. I'm sorry, George. I couldn't help it.
I figured that would be coming.
I'm so sorry. Forgive me. I just wanted to mention the parking lot on the 3rd Street at 3rd and Center. There's a garbage can there that has a cover on it. I don't know if there's a way we can secure those. It repeatedly blows off into oncoming traffic, has almost knocked people over. I've placed it back on many times. I don't know how to get it to stay. And I don't know why that one blows. I have not noticed it anywhere else. It's right by the bus depot. There's something wrong with that cover. And then in that same parking lot, I think in the midst of plowing, someone picked up and moved one of the plows hit one of the little parking things in the median pretty hard, and I'm always worried someone's gonna not be paying attention and break an ankle or fall into it, and I don't know if there's any way to just kind of knock it back down, but it's in a bad spot. And those are the two things I noticed about that, but that garbage can, it almost knocked me over one day. I don't know what its thing is, but that's all I have.
Jerry?
Steve, welcome aboard. And historic things are already happening now that you're here. I don't think there's any correlation between it, but I do believe that March 7th, 2016 probably marks the first time that anybody sitting up here has admitted publicly that they're not a streetwalker.
That you're aware of.
That I'm aware of. Okay. Do have a couple other items. This, Chad, if you could just take a look at this, and this is no hurry, we'll just have to come up with some costs for later. But each year, each winter, down at Veterans Park, that old curb, another piece comes off, another piece comes off. Vets Park had a meeting, they talked about maybe we should just do away with it, it would make it easier for landscaping or maintenance. But then we realized that it would possibly cause some serious issues with the sprinkler systems being on the very end, and they would be hit by the plows, so something's going to have to be done, not tomorrow, but if that can be on the list, be taken a look at, thank you. The other one, a number of people have called me on this, the neighbors of the stop sign on West Broadway, I believe it's McBride Street. They're happy the stop sign is there. They're requesting that, and I know some say there's flashing lights, they claim that they're, anyway, if staff could take a look at that one and see if there's a way that it could stand out a little bit more. It is on a corner. If you're coming east, you can see it. If you're going west, it's possible that you go right through it. Neighbors have said that they've seen some people that go right through. So if staff could take a look at it, and we'll obviously have to vote on it because I know there's some disagreement on that particular issue, but if we could just take a look at that stop sign. Pardon me? It's the four-way stop on
McBride and Broadway.
McBride and Broadway. And they're requesting like the flashing light type of deal that at least then people can see it.
It has a flashlight, but you mean the stop lights, the stop sign that flashes?
They want something additional to what's there, so if somebody from staff could just take a look at it and see if there is, what the options are to increase the visibility of that particular sign. That's all I have.
Okay.
And again, those would all have to be brought back and all that stuff. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jerry. Al?
Nothing other than to say welcome, Steve, and enjoy the warm weather.
All right, thank you.
And under the consent agenda, the three items are the approval of the minutes from February 16th and 18th, a claim against the city by James Irwin, and a claim against the city by Deverick Ohms.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Al, seconded by Michelle. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Mayor, I move we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.
Well, when he said that, I had to pick up on that.
And so, we made it.
That's good.
I think you set yourself up for that.